Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. So, next up, heavy news item today. I promise some of the tweets are fun.
But, I've read them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some fun ones. There's a video that has been going around Twitter that I'm going to show. So next up, before we get into this one, reminder that this is a fundraiser. If you're watching this later on, the fundraiser should still be going on as long as you got it fairly recently. So go click the link in the description. Go to vicerhino.com/donate. That should take you straight to the fundraiser page. It's for the Bridget Alliance, which helps to pay for people's travel expenses when they need to travel places to get abortions, because there are places like I forget what state it is, so I'm not going to say the name lest I get it wrong and everybody yell at me to correct me, but they're one of the Midwestern states that's mostly cornfields. There's one abortion clinic in the whole state, and it's not a small state. So you need to take time off work, you need childcare, you need travel expenses, you need a hotel. They'll help pay for some of that stuff for people in need. So it's a good cause, and it is very important right now.
Yep. Donate, peeps.
So, an Alabama couple can't adopt a child because they're non-religious. So, now this was a private adoption agency. This comes to us from Hemet Mehta. Love Hemet. He's great.
A dude.
But yeah, so they go this couple, they're an upstanding couple. They're stable. They've got a nice house. They've taken in foster kids in the past. I think they have one of their own children. I don't remember. We might get to that, but they're the ideal perfect family for a child that needs a home.
Mm-hmm. And
so they go to this adoption services provider, Alabama Family Adoption Services, which is a private child placement agency that's licensed by the state, because they thought that was the best option. So it's not a faith-based company. It's not run by a church. It's, in theory, it's secular. And they even they work with same-sex couples. They've helped them adopt kids before, so they seem fairly progressive, especially for Alabama.
Yeah.
So they thought it wouldn't be a problem. So they went and asked, hey, we're not religious. Is that okay? And the response she got was, I am sorry, we could not work with you. We are not specific about one's faith, but the biological families that we work with do request that our adoptive families have a spiritual life.
Now, this article really hit home for me because I am interested in fostering and adopting. And so is my partner, and we are both non-religious. And I think I would be actually devastated if that happened to me.
Yeah,
and it could.
Yeah, this is absolutely terrible. But and then I highlighted this one in red, but she confirms that her agency does not work with adoptive families who are not religious, but she said it's because of the wishes of the birth mothers. In the cases that we've found in 36 years, most, I highlighted most in red because that's a key word here, most, not all of our mothers come to us asking that the adoptive families have a belief system. So if it's not all, then shouldn't you at least check?
And not to be, I don't know if this is an asshole thing to say. If it is,
I feel like we're going to be on the same page here, but go for it.
I find it telling that the people that are giving up their kids seem to be largely religious.
Okay, that's not quite where I was going to go, but yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. What I was going to go with is, if you want a say in the religious upbringing of your child, maybe you should raise the child. Now,
also that.
If you're not in a position to raise a child, maybe abortion would have been a good option if you're not in a position to raise a child. But if things happen, if you're in a situation where you have a baby that you need to give up for adoption because you're not ready for it, that's fine. Give it up for adoption. There shouldn't be any stigma with that. But you shouldn't also get a say in the religious beliefs of the people that are going to be adopting your kid.
Right.
Because like you are giving up the care of that kid. You're giving it up to someone else.
Yeah, I think it's weird that they even have a say in that because I mean, clearly the adoption agency has standards, high standards. Anything more in depth than that, it's like, well, then you should probably be raising the kid yourself, huh?
But the next sentence we get the oh, look at all the minorities we do work with. We've placed children with Jewish families. We did have an Indian family at one point. Do they think Indian is a religion?
Yeah, what does that
What?
fucking mean?
What?
What does that fucking mean?
It's like, oh, would you deny someone from India because the birth parents didn't like it?
Are they just assuming that this Indian family is not
they
Christian?
probably meant Hindu,
Yeah.
or maybe they were just brown and they assumed. Like, I don't know. That's sketchy right there. And then they follow it up with,
that's definitely red flags.
and then they follow it up with, I don't think that we've ever had a Muslim family. So like they're naming the minorities they've worked with, and they can't even get more than two.
Yeah, that's
And
rough.
one of them they get either really, really wrong or really right in a really yikesy way.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said, I know a black guy.
Yeah.
That definitely has I have a black friend energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, but it's just ridiculous. But then we get where are we? I think I missed their biography thing, but we get to the if the Brownings can't even get through the door though because no adoption agency will work with them, then how would birth mothers even know their options? Like,
right.
And then
if they're just gonna stop them at the door, it's like, okay, so there are probably kids out there that excuse me, there's probably at least some birth parents that don't care, and if they can't even get through the door to find out if that's the case, then that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, but then we get to the question: if a birth mother wanted her child to be placed in a secular home, then would the Wyatts help facilitate it? The Wyatts being the people that run this adoption agency. Mm-hmm. So the answer should just be yes. If the only reason they turn them away is because the birth mothers don't want secular households, then if a birth mother came in saying I did want a secular household, shouldn't be any thought required. Just yeah, absolutely, of course. But the answer was actually she's unsure whether her agency would facilitate an adoption for a birth mother who, for example, expressed a preference for a non-religious home. She and her husband, who co-own the agency, would have to discuss the issue, she said. Why?
What is there to discuss? That answer is shocking. Like, it seems like their answer should be, well, I'm not sure. But like the fact that they're like, we'll have to discuss that. It's like, what do you mean? What? Just.
Yeah. It's a blatant double standard.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. And now the Brownings are reconsidering whether to adopt at all because the barriers that have blocked their path have been so ridiculous. So that's one of the things people will often say is like, oh, well, you know, if you get pregnant and you don't want the kid, just give it up for adoption. Now that there's a lot of issues with that, like not the least of which, like there are a lot of problems with forcing someone to remain pregnant and give birth. Those are not easy things to do. I've seen it happen 3 times. 2 of them were major surgeries, and the other one was there were some nasty things going on in the delivery room. Nobody should be forced to do that if they don't want to. But even if that were a valid argument, they try to give them up for like there are these wonderful people in a loving home trying desperately to give a kid that already exists a loving home, and they're being told no because you have the wrong beliefs. So they're not pro-life; they're pro-fetus.
If I ever have to give up a child for adoption, I'm gonna go to like a super fucking churchy place and be like, make sure they go to a good pagan home. Make sure there some real heathens raise up my children.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wonder if they'd even allow that.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, you'll do it for faiths. Well, where do we draw the line there? Are we doing it for non-faiths? Or I mean, that's
Yeah. So what I really want to get to, the last sentence here, well, it's not the last sentence, the last one I'm going to read. If the people running these agencies actually care about acting in the best interests of the children, then they would be doing everything they could do to match kids with good parents, even if they don't match some outdated, archaic checklist of what good means.
Yep. You said it best.
Absolutely.